there, I'm Pippa Chabalala and welcome to yet another jam-packed episode of Glitched. We go from exploring some of the 9 realms of Norse mythology as we give you our full review of God of War. We also fold some cardboard and create cool RC cars with a handful of young gamers in SA. We review the awesome MSI GS65 Stealth Thin gaming laptop. But first up, we go through a roundup of everything that happened at the Gaming Forum 2018. Let's get started. We at Glitched believe that community and working together is vital to the success of gaming in SA. In fact, they're the principles we've built the show around. In March, we attended and spoke on a panel at the first ever gaming forum at the Mesh Club in Rosebank, Johannesburg. Hosted by Gamenation SA, the forum was created to give voice to the individuals who are part of the bigger landscape in South Africa. Barry, Anthrax, Luzada, Axe Dreams, and myself and Marco Cocamelo were just a few of the people who hosted panels. And the evening touched on everything from esports to local tournaments, how to start a YouTube channel, and even start writing about games. It was a great evening of talking about the things we don't normally get to open up about, such as diversity, the importance of collaboration, and fighting against industry bias. We hope that the Gaming Forum becomes a regular event, as it was not only informative, but it allowed a platform to address some of the local industry's biggest issues. In general, we gained awareness of other people's roles in the industry and how people can collaborate to grow esports and gaming in general. We even got a unique look at the upcoming South African-born game Ginga, which we've covered in the past, and it is looking better than ever. Robot Wizard, the guys behind the game, gave us a sneak peek at the project that has just entered its crowdfunding campaign. Even had a special message just for the Glitched viewers.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Hi, my name is Louis, and
I'm Graham.
And we are Robot Wizard, and we are currently still making a point-and-click adventure game called Ginga, where the adventure is to finish the game. And this is where you can help us. Please go to fig.co/Ginga and pledge to help us finish our game, because we need your hard-earned ZARs to give you our hard-made game.
So the reason we're doing the campaign is because we need money. And we've got to pay talent. So paying the voiceover artists, the musicians, and us, because we need food.
Yes.
Send food parcels and money.
No, just money.
Send money.
Just money.
So yeah, head over to fig.co/Ginga. And check out this cool trailer that's going to roll right now.
When you see the faceless way up high, guarding the crack in the sky, you know there's no way out of here. You know you're all gonna die. You're all gonna die. You're all gonna die. When an outlander is your final hope, and this world's at the end of its rope, many perils will face you in the strange yet familiar land. You're armed with just your wits and the things that you may find. We've just realized we're all gonna die.
Actually, in adventure games, you never really die when you don't get it right the first time. You just got to retry.
Thanks Gamenation SA and all the speakers for hosting an epic event. What is Nintendo LABO, you may ask? A lot of people see it and have no idea what it does and why it is so genius. Well, Nintendo LABO is a brand new product on the market that revolves around creating objects using cardboard that first come in flat sheets and you pop it all out, fold it, and make awesome things. We headed to the Nintendo pop-up store in Santon to let some young gamers have a go at creating what Nintendo is calling their RC car. While it doesn't look like a car, after building it, the cardboard creation is meant to be a controllable device that drives thanks to the 3D rumble feature in the Joy-Con controllers. The kids started out by popping the pieces out of the flat sheets, folding them all along the lines to create a 3D object, and then piecing it all together following the instructional video in front of them that comes with the pack from Nintendo. The instructions were easy enough for the kids to understand, and thanks to a little help from the adults around the table, who probably had just as much fun with this, the creations came to life. You can decorate these RC cars with all sorts of things, glitter, feathers, and even add eyeballs. You name it and you can create it. Thanks to it being made from cardboard, everything sticks and looks great. Once created, you slide each Joy-Con into the side of the RC car, and then you use the Switch's touchscreen to send your commands to the creation. You can even control both sets of controllers with one screen, so no need to physically have both Nintendo Switch consoles available to race with a friend. Some of our creations suffered some technical issues, but in the end, we raced them against each other and there was one clear winner. Nintendo LABO is much more than just this RC car though, as the variety pack comes with a piano, house, fishing rod, and even a motorbike handle. Each of these creations can be tough to make, but again, the software that comes with them guides you through it all step by step. Each creation also comes with a set of mini-games to play that are all targeted at the young and the young at heart. The house sees you looking after a furry creature that you can play around with by placing various objects in the slots. The fishing rod lets you catch fish by reeling them in after they bite, and the motorbike lets you race across tracks that you create or those made by Nintendo. Then there is the robot pack, which is an advanced version of it all that lets you create a robot suit and stomp around in it. The kids all loved the idea of this. We'll let them tell you.
I love Nintendo Switch!
You can grab these packs in SA at your local gaming store and online. The variety pack sells for 999 Rand and the robot pack for 1,099 Rand.
Do I see my mother? Oh, there, do I see my father? Oh, there, do they call to me? Oh, there, do they call to me? Oh, there, do they call to me?
That bow's a little big for you, isn't it?
My mother made it for me. Said I'd grow into it.
Find your way home. You are free. Open the door! We need your help!
This is no ordinary illness. The boy's true nature, your true nature, fights within him.
So I'm a man now. Like you?
No. We are not men. We are more than that. The responsibility is far greater.
Can you kill something that big?
God of War is an engrossing experience from the opening moments right till the end. What makes it so great? The combination of great storytelling, music, dialogue, an immersive and gorgeous world, deep combat, and of course, engaging characters, all shift the previous one-dimensional gameplay in a completely new direction. God of War has done the impossible. It has changed immensely, but at the same time, it is still able to keep the feeling of a classic God of War game. The familiarity coupled with the changes means it feels like a refreshing take on the series while still staying true to those aspects of what made it great in the first place. We have great respect for a game that can look at itself in the mirror and notice it needs to change its ways, and God of War has done just that. It is a deep and emotional experience with a fantastic combat system, all set in an immersive world. It is a game worthy of the gods. The first hour of the game alone takes you from tear-jerking moments to an intense fistfight with a stranger. Of course, this being God of War, this fistfight results in Kratos picking up mountain-sized rocks and slamming them down on the annoying man getting in his way. Later in the game, we see Kratos fight the same man atop a flying dragon in the sky. It's these moments that bring back our memories of the stellar action of the classic games, but it is made all the more refreshing as it is now so much more than a series of quick-time events. All you know at the start of the game is that Kratos and his son Atreus set off on a journey to the highest mountain in the Norse world to scatter the ashes of Kratos' wife, Atreus' mother. Kratos, the same god killer we all remember from previous games, is trying hard to keep the secret of his past from his son.
There are consequences to killing a god!
Why? How do you know? How do you know?
And at the same time, teach Atreus how to be a better person. Kratos has mellowed and is a lot less angry than we remember. He constantly espouses words of wisdom to his son, and if anything, is a great role model to the boy. Atreus, on the other hand, is a young soul filled with excitement, often too much for Kratos to handle, and it shows in the game's dialogue.
Slow down, boy.
Kratos keeps his son in line with an iron fist and some firm words too.
Feed us.
Part of what makes God of War so engrossing is the bond between the two characters and how it blossoms throughout the game. From teaching him how to hunt, to being the kick in the butt when emotion overwhelms him after his first kill, Kratos and Atreus' bond and relationship in God of War is one of the deepest and strongest we've witnessed since the days of The Last of Us. Kratos and Atreus are also the best partners when it comes to combat. Atreus starts off with the simple ability to shoot arrows at enemies Kratos is fighting, but later on you can unlock much more, such as the ability to stun them and pull them to the ground. Exploration and puzzles are also met with a great backstory, as Kratos cannot read Norse letters, so Atreus has to translate it all for him. He can also get into spots Kratos cannot to pull down chains and open hatches. While much of this is pretty predetermined in the game's path, there are quite a number of hidden puzzles and treasures to find along the way too, requiring you to make use of both Kratos' ability to toss his Leviathan axe, as well as Atreus using his abilities to his advantage. God of War features a brand new, revamped combat system, and it works incredibly well. Gone are the days of spamming a few buttons to pull off large combo numbers. Welcome to a much more tactical and streamlined combat system. With Atreus at his side, Kratos can lock onto enemies and dodge, heavy attack, light attack, toss his Leviathan axe at them, and parry with a well-timed shield block. The best part about the new combat system is how well it plays out, and the Leviathan axe is the key to unlocking its potential. Tossing the axe at an enemy's head to freeze it in place while pumping some fists into a draug to get its stun gauge up so you can pull off a lethal kill and then whisk the axe back into your hand and slice up some enemies along the way was probably the most boring part about the combat. Of course, when we say boring, we don't mean boring at all. It all got a lot more exciting the further we progressed in the game as we unlocked more skills and new weapons. Enemies are also of many varieties and require different approaches. Some enemies cannot be killed with the axe at all, so you need to plan accordingly. In later sections of the game, enemies use elements such as ice and fire, and you need to use Kratos' different abilities and weapons to counter them. This was one of the most exciting parts of the combat, and it kept things intense, as Kratos has to switch from his axe to his fists to his fire weapon to counter the many enemies on screen at once. Of course, the grab attacks are also back and better than ever. Instead of just waiting for an enemy to be grabbable, is that a word? You need to stun them by building up a stun meter. This can be done with bare hands or a few arrows shot at them by commanding Atreus to do so. As you advance through the game, more abilities are unlocked by purchasing them with XP earned by killing enemies and completing bounty-like objectives, such as killing a set number of enemies a certain way. Abilities and skills are two different things in God of War. Abilities are additional combos and attacks that you can use at any given time. Skills are different and obtainable by finding them in chests and completing puzzles. Skills are actual new attacks that Kratos can pull off, which are much more powerful than his standard hack and slash. These can also be leveled up by using XP and become more powerful with every upgrade. They do have a cooldown period, but are worth the use. Let's not forget that Atreus is also around, and while he starts off the game as a weak marksman, he grows into a powerful sidekick that is able to hold back enemies by jumping onto their backs and even killing them. He comes in handy quite often, especially thanks to his ability to spam electric arrows into enemies, stunning them for Kratos to deal a heavy attack. In addition, he can summon spectral animals that also have specific attacks. God of War would be nothing without its world, and Santa Monica Studios delivered a realm worth exploring. Even if you don't usually play with headphones on, the sound design adds even more detail to the already exceptional game. Walking past a stream to hear water trickling on the rocks, flags blowing in the wind, Kratos' footsteps as they transition between snow and a puddle, and of course the creatures screaming in the distance. The soundtrack left us with goosebumps throughout the game, punctuated by moments when you come face to face with the world serpent and his voice crackles at your very soul as his deep sound travels across the planet.
Stay calm, boy!
I am! This is great!
It speaks?
Yeah! Mom said he's friendly!
What does it say?
I don't know! That was amazing!
The sound design alone in God of War deserves every bit of attention it gets, as it is on a level of its own. The world itself is gorgeous from every angle, and this is enhanced by the sound and music score. There is no doubt that the greatest task at hand was bringing the land to life, and the visuals are breathtaking. Take the opportunity to stand and gaze into the distance at the wonders ahead. The smallest bit of detail, like a water stain on the ground, looks like it took days to perfect. Not to mention the actual characters and locations in the game that will leave you breathless. We won't spoil it, but prepare yourself for a visual wonder of the likes you have never seen before. This is also the first God of War to feel open in terms of the scale and freedom of the world. You can visit almost any location you've seen before, and even fast travel to some of them using the World Tree's doorways. This helps immensely, as there are a handful of collectibles that will tick off a labor, the game's bounty-like missions, on your list. Other NPCs will also give you side favors to complete, which are exciting side quests that take you to a different location completely to do something specific, and there are always blocked paths that need a certain item that you can return to once you obtain them. The magic of God of War is just how well it all comes together. The biggest feat of God of War is how this could all have gone horribly wrong, as Santa Monica Studio attempted the impossible by bringing this series back to life in an age where gaming is very different. That in itself deserves the utmost respect. God of War is a must for all PS4 owners. It is the game you will remember for years to come. You will easily invest 50 hours into it, and it will give you goosebumps when you talk about it to your friends. It is, without a doubt, one of the greatest games of this generation. We give it a perfect 10 out of 10. We love a good gaming laptop, but one thing we've grown bored of is its typical look and feel. They're always bulky with brushed steel and red markings all over them. We grow tired of seeing the same thing over and over again, and there are only a few select brands that really go out there with their designs. That being said, MSI was one of them, but after spending time with the new GS65 Stealth Thin gaming laptop, it almost feels like a brand new direction for the gaming giant. So much so that the device is not only a powerhouse, but it's also one of the most fashionable gaming laptops on the market to date. The MSI GS65 comes packed with some powerful specs, a latest 8th gen Intel i7 CPU, and a GeForce GTX 1070 Max-Q with 8 gigs of GDDR5 RAM. The MSI GS65 Stealth Thin is a monster. To be honest, the GS65 Stealth Thin feels like a brand new range from MSI. Its gold trimmings, lack of red splashed everywhere, thin and light design, and thin bezel display makes for a refreshing new overhaul. Even its power brick has been made 28% smaller. MSI's branding consists of a red dragon, and to see this device incorporate a brand new gold and black color scheme is a breath of fresh air. The entire laptop has been made from a black matte aluminium alloy. Instead of the traditional red strips around it, we have a sleek and sexy gold design that looks fantastic. On the edges, the diamond-cut trimmings pay tribute to Apple's iPhone range that implement the same small detail to add a premium design finish to the product. The new thin bezel display is very sexy and one of the best we have ever used. It helps trim down the fat from the device quite a lot with its 82% screen-to-body ratio compared to other devices. To see this sort of display on a gaming laptop is great. It is all held up by two hinges, which again is something very different from the past laptops as well. Opening the lid and we get the sleek keyboard, which is backlit by steel series like other MSI gaming laptops released in the past year. The keyboard is not a full-sized one, but it works for being so small. The power button is also gold trimmed and the top vents look great too. Another small but sweet addition is the touchpad, which also has a gold trim around it to make it look like it's part of the new design direction. Overall, the laptop comes with all the ports you would need from it: USB 3.1, Thunderbolt 3, mini DisplayPort, HDMI, headphone, and even a LAN port. All this design has been packed into a laptop that is 17.9mm thin and weighs 1.88 kilograms. This is one of the first gaming laptops from MSI to come with an 8th gen CPU, and the performance promises up to 40% more thanks to the new 6-core processor. The Max-Q GPU also means more power, higher spec, but at a large cost too, which has been something we've come to expect from the technology. We ran 2 benchmarks while testing the unit. We ran the usual Heaven benchmark, but we were also interested to see how the latest Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition would do, and seeing as that benchmark is free, we gave that a go too. The Unigine Heaven benchmark ended with a 1,829 score with an average of 72 frames per second. The test was running on an extreme full-screen setting with tessellation on and 8x filtering. It looks amazing during the benchmark, and the score is not bad at all. The MSI GS65 managed to score a 5,484 at the end of the benchmark, which according to the official site is fairly high. We ran the test on 1080p and the score is the equivalent of a desktop run of a Radeon RX Vega. It scored even higher than the average GeForce HTX 1070 Max-Q, which comes in at 5,257. We also spent much of the time playing our latest addiction, Vermintide 2, and that was another phenomenal experience. The gameplay was smooth and it almost felt as if it were a mere small task for the GS65 to pull it off. With everything on max and an extreme field of view, the gameplay was flawless. Best of all, the display's 144Hz delivered some of the smoothest gameplay we have seen on a gaming laptop to date. We had issues with the last device we reviewed being dull and not bright enough, but the GS65 is impressive. It boasts a 150% color gamut range, and in terms of brightness, we can confirm it ranges around the 290 mark. A small but effective jump from the 270 nits in the GE73 VR. The MSI GS65 gets hot, very hot actually, and while gaming the fan does get loud, but that is expected given that it's so thin and handling all those tasks and gaming at the same time. However, you would want to put this on a desk when playing the most intense games or it will burn your lap. Gaming laptops are known to deliver a somewhat mediocre sound experience, but the GS65 sound is on another level. Smaller details come through louder, there is less crackling, and they're capable of getting quite loud on maximum volume. You can hear the kicks and experience all the little details. They could honestly be some of the best laptop speakers we have ever experienced, making the MSI GS65 another winner here. Last but not least, we have the battery life, which is not the best in the world, but better than some other devices. While gaming does not last long, another use such as work and video playback was fantastic. MSI promised 8+ hours, and you can kind of get there with a few brightness tweaks and adjustments here and there. However, you would want to plug this in when gaming, as the battery drain does start to affect your game's performance. The MSI GS65 Stealth Thin is everything we ever hoped for in a gaming laptop, and everything we wanted MSI to do to change their safe stance in the industry. It's out there and delivers power beyond anything we have tested before. Its new CPU boosts the performance. The Max-Q GPU creates a thin device, and the new display allows for a portable and lightweight gaming laptop of the likes we have not used before. Best of all, its new design is a refreshing new take on the traditional hardware we've come to expect from the brand. And of course, make sure you keep an eye on upcoming episodes where we put this MSI up against another high-end gaming laptop, benchmark them together to see who comes out on top. That's all from us. Catch you again next time.